So in this module or lesson, I wanted to see if you're really truly ready. There's three things I want to go over to see if you are ready to really dive into this. If the answer is no to any of these, maybe you just need to take some time to rest, which is another thing that is totally fine that we don't talk enough about them. Rest is great. Sometimes you might just need to rest, heal, and recalibrate before you can start planning and strategizing and moving on to the next. Okay. So, here are the three things that we're going to be talking about in this module or lesson: embracing the new, mind over matter, and going from hope to strategy. And again, if no or unsure is anything that comes up while I'm talking through some of these, then stop right here. And what I want you to do is take some time for yourself, pamper yourself, rest, heal. And that in itself is huge because when you're rested, you can do better and do more later on. You have that energy, you have that clear mind and that clarity. You have the healed spirit to really start planning, strategizing, creating, designing the future that you want. And it makes sense, right? So that you can really blossom and live. Okay, so let's get to it. Embracing the new. Are you able to tap into the excitement of new beginnings? Do you have that feeling of new excitement? Is that there for you right now? Are you excited about some of the things you want to do? And if the answer is yes, let's talk about it a little bit more. I love this exciting momentum that comes around the new year. It kind of reminds me of going back to school when I was younger, in like high school or even college, planning my outfits, back to school shopping, getting the school supplies, getting to see new friends again and being in those circles that you might not have been over the summer. Or for college, it was like getting my car, driving to college and getting a roommate or having my own room or apartment for once. And again, connecting with those social circles, that energy, that excitement. That's what I want you to embrace for the new year. If you're feeling that and you're ready to embrace that excitement, then let's continue and move on because you're going to need that excitement and that energy to keep you moving throughout the overall process. Mind over matter. I want you to emphasize the importance of goal oriented mindset and proactive action. Okay. Mind over matter. We're not just going to aimlessly do or think big and not have a plan or be smart about how we're going to approach our resolutions, our goals, how we want our life to look like. So I'm emphasizing the importance here of goal oriented mindset. Remember, do you have that right now? Are you ready for that? Can you make that happen? And being proactive and taking action. That's a huge part. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why we fail, and being proactive and taking action is one of them. But I want you to ask yourself, are you proactive? Are you ready to take changes, make the steps happen, take action? And we're going to talk about SMART goals, small wins, and steps. Are you ready to make SMART goals and be smart about it? Do that planning. Are you okay with small wins and small steps and not just going big, hard, and diving in and being reckless? If so, then let's move on to the next consideration: from hope to strategy. So, a lot of us have the big dream. We have desires, hopes, dreams, goals, which is great. But do you have a strategy to make those happen? Are you ready to take the time to strategize and plan? Okay. I want you to shift from wishful thinking to strategic planning. All right. Because at the end of all of this, your year rests in your hands. Now, I'm here to support you and cheer you on, and so is the Daily Ritual community. But at the end of the day, it's all in your hands. And to make that happen, you're going to have a plan and a strategy. You just can't be loosey goosey and fly by the seat of your pants and hope that everything works out. Because again, like I talked about those stats at the top of the course, it usually and probably won't happen because you didn't have a plan. You didn't have a strategy, right? You didn't have that excitement. You didn't have goals or smart goals, or you didn't think about things in a way where you're going to take small baby steps, right? So I'll give you an example. I wanted to get into the fashion industry and become a stylist and move to New York. At the time, I was living in Colorado. And I knew if I wanted to make this childhood dream of being in fashion become a reality, I had to take the steps. People weren't going to take me seriously if I just showed up in New York and was like, I'm going to be a stylist without any experience. So I was currently working on a blog. I decided to really push my blog and focus on fashion and styling tips. Also, take that into reality, into the real world. Start creating a portfolio and styling for fashion shows, do photo shoots in my local area. So I worked really hard at that. And before I could even get there, I took classes and I networked and I really learned the industry and what I was getting myself into before diving in. I did internships. I did my own photo shoots. I would reach out to local retailers or people in the industry and do fashion shows, like I said, and really build up that portfolio and my resume so I had some experience to lean on when I did move to New York. But I realized, how am I going to get to New York? Right. So that was another strategy and plan I had to come up with. That energy, that momentum, I kept it going and mind over matter. I kept going by creating a plan and just checking things off the list. What do I have to do to move to New York in a year time span? Each month I was doing something, right? I realized I needed money, maybe 3 to 6 months of funds to live off of and decide if I really like this and can make it in New York. I needed a place to live. Did I know anybody? These were all questions and things I had to come up with and ask and plot and plan out, right? And I did just that. I sold all my stuff and moved in with my mom. That was instant cash. Sold my car, instant cash. Saved money, paid off um, credit cards and bills while living with my mom. That extra money, you know. Took a trip out to New York, I think 2 or 3 times to network and meet with people. There was a church out there that was a sister church to the church I was going to at the time. So I networked and met with those people and asked them the questions. If anyone was looking for a roommate, how do I move in? Where's a good place to live? So you get my drift. I did all those things up until the point where I bought my final one-way ticket and found a roommate through the church, had my money. I knew what I was getting myself into by asking people what it was like living there, what I could expect. Making friends would be hard. Finding a full-time job would be hard. But I knew retail, it's New York. You can find a job in retail just about anywhere, right? And I also prepared myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. But I had all these things in place, right? And that's why I want to really talk about this in this module is embracing the new, like really piggybacking off of that excitement, that back to school excitement, that energy, because that energy is going to keep you going. That dream that I had, that desire, that want, that was that passion that was burning in me. And mind over matter, knowing that if I was going to do this, I had to have smart goals and different steps and small wins. And I would celebrate those wins too. I had a little countdown that I would post on Facebook, and people were cheering me on and watching the journey. I would post and document it on my blog. And I would do exciting little things. Like I would buy myself little things here and there, like maybe a new outfit that I would wear once I got to New York, right? Or something for my room. Um, so that's why I really want to talk about that in this module. All right, let's go ahead and move along onto the next module or lesson, which is why resolutions fail. So again, in this module, we talked a little bit about, are you ready? Now we're going to talk about why resolutions fail. If you know what you don't know, or if you know the challenges and things that you might face before they come, you're going to be better prepared. So get ahead and head on to the next lesson, why resolutions fail.